So Christmas came early for you this year, Trevor.
Oh, can you imagine? That was the first thing on my list, actually.
Was it really?
Yeah, yeah. It's I hadn't asked for it before, and I always get my letter to Santa out, early November, and this is the first time I actually asked for it because I just didn't want to be greedy, a choo-choo train, a rocking horse, like that's usually good enough for me.
Yes. Well, this is a special pop-in podcast, obviously.
Yep.
I'm Sean Orr, joined Trevor Bass. This Left Coast leaves. Babcock fired. I called you when I left work today.
Yeah.
And you sounded like I could tell you had a massive smile on your face. You sounded jovial, a little pep in your step. But
yeah.
You sounded like a lot of weight was off your shoulders.
I mean, full disclosure, I probably drove like 3 kilometers over the speed limit the whole way home.
Only 3?
Only 3. But I'm usually like 20 under in the left-hand lane.
So you've been talking about this longer than most, than maybe any, about the need to get rid of Babcock. What are your thoughts today, and with Sheldon Keefe coming in?
Well, I'm not going to give some sort of heartfelt farewell. I mean, if I was as hard on him as I am, I'm just going to double down and just say that it's about time. I mean, I recognized something way early on, like way back in late 2017. The thing that triggered it for me was their power play started struggling, and they just didn't make any adjustments, which is so prophetic because that happened like every season on about almost everything, that just no adjustments, right? And I'm like, this guy, like, I don't know, like the carpets don't match the drapes. There's something about...
What a reference.
There's something that's just not right here, right? And we got this young run and gun team, and you got this guy with this kind of old school mentality, and even Lou was still the GM then, so we hadn't even had the Dubas effect yet.
Yeah.
But and I took a lot of heat from it, from you, from Twitter, but I don't know, I just felt it, and like I just, you know what, the one thing that I do regret right now is that they didn't keep getting dropped into it now. I wish they would have just done it in the off season, gave him the entire summer to prep for it in training camp. But it is what it is. Like you can't look a gift horse in the mouth, I suppose. What were your thoughts? How did you hear it? Did you hear it from me?
No, I was in a meeting. We had a bi-weekly meeting with our Hockey Canada person, and my uncle texted me a headline from Sportsnet. And that's how I found out. So I was surprised, but not surprised. Where it's like we're so typical. It's such a typical Toronto thing, though, to fire the coach after 3 or 4 years. Like and you can say what we want, but it's like we do it all the time, and it's like at some point, like this can't happen. Like we just at the time hired perennial top 2, top 3 coach in the league, and less than 5 years later he's been fired. It's classic Toronto.
Yeah. I mean, do you think, like, in the end, was it... I'm not even gonna bother going... I just think his resume was so bloated. Like I won Stanley Cup. Well, so do 38 other guys have won Stanley Cup, and then they had the Olympics, and I think he just rode on the coattails of those Olympic gold medals so far, so hard. He bought so much time with that.
No one. You're the only person to say that, so I don't agree with it. Like there's, like he's almost 60. He's never been fired before from a coaching position
because he quits first, and he never gets. He leaves because they don't renew him. I mean, it's kind of like a mutual agreement that you're not going to give you extension. Has he ever welched out on term left on a contract?
I think with Anaheim he did. Go to Detroit.
Right.
And Detroit didn't want him to leave.
Yeah, I mean,
they were trying to sign him.
Regardless of when I sort of started being suspicious of him. By the
But like
time by the time he went, everybody was ready for it.
if you were suspicious, though, you should have been on it immediately as soon as it was signed. It took you like 2.5 years to get to that point. So
but I
so
mean, we were as excited as anybody. I mean, everybody was. I mean, he was Mike Babcock, but
he still is Mike Babcock,
only
as he referenced to Sleep.
only in name, only in name.
But he believes in Mike Babcock, as the
Well,
quote
I
was
mean,
earlier this week.
and he should be. He should. He's a very confident, rich man with a great family.
Yes.
So, fuck, man. If I had $48 million in the bank, I probably even talk to people.
Do you think he will coach in the league again?
Oh,
Will he be a head coach come this time next year?
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done. I mean, I think he'd want to pick his city. Like, I don't think he just is gonna lunge at the first opening.
Like Quenneville?
Yeah, well, Quenneville had some ulterior motives for going to Florida. I mean,
Do you think
it's
teams
Florida.
will gambling with the horses?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think teams will potentially be quicker to pull the trigger to fire their coach to hire Babcock? Though?
No, and I don't. He's not getting $6 million, and he's not getting like 5 years or 8 years. What did we give him? 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years.
Like he's gonna have to sit there and swallow a 3-year deal, and he might not want to coach at that with that security. I mean, there's got to be red flags with him now too. I think.
Well, Quenneville got a 5-year times 5 contract after being pretty bad with Chicago.
3 cups.
2 years.
3 cups. But
Sure.
I mean, so let's look forward now. What are we? What's Keith inheriting here?
To be honest, I have no idea. I think it's going to be completely different, and I don't know how it's going to be completely different. Like he hasn't even had a practice, let alone a pregame skate. Like
Yeah.
I don't even I can't even comment because I don't know. I need to see at least 3 games like with him as coach just to get a handle of what we're gonna do and like what are the switch ups like.
Yeah.
We don't even know what the lineup is. So
No, I know.
it's like at this point we can only go off by name and that hey he's a Dubas guy. So I'm assuming they're aligned, but I have no idea.
I'm looking at the 2016-17 Marlies roster.
The one that won the Calder Cup.
I think the year before, but I'm just going back a little farther for development reasons. But Andreas Johnson, Kasperi Kapanen, Trevor Moore, Dmitro Timashov, Travis Dermott, Justin Hall, Frederick Gauthier.
That's the one that won the Calder Cup. Then.
Is it?
I'd assume so.
Yeah. So, I mean, Kazmir Kasasu, we butchered that one. But Kaskasu. But so like half this team, and I mean not our star players. Well, I mean not anyone that came from another team or anyone who went right from the draft to the team. I mean over half this team has gone through him as a player.
Really, we're only talking about like Marner, Matthews, Riley,
Tavares.
Because Tavares and Kerfoot, because and Barry go trades.
So I mean a good amount.
The only place to go is up with Barry. So.
Yeah. So here's the thing. If Austin Matthews goes to Andreas Johnson and says, "What do you expect? What should we expect?" What do you think Andreas Johnson's answer might be?
To win?
Yeah. No, but expect out of Keefe.
I don't know.
Like I know what he's not going to say that people are anticipating is they're not going to play. They're just not going to throw the puck on the ice and just think it's shinny. Right? Like this isn't going to be pond hockey as much as people think it's going to be. He's going to bring in defensive structure. You can't win without it, and every coach has it. It's just got to be, and for all we know, Babcock had a perfectly legitimate X and O system, but they just didn't do it. Right? So
that's fair.
So what we need is like, okay, here it is, fellas. Are you going to do it for me? And I think that's the difference.
Well,
Hopefully that's the difference.
I think we need to watch a few games and then make an initial assessment. Like we don't even know, like, because there's been no practice or pregame skate, so like we don't even know what he. I think we put our thoughts into Babcock here before we even get into Keith. Like we need to see some games be played first, because at this point, like, you and I both don't know the Marlies. Like, we're just like just saying what other people have said in Twitter, unless you like secretly like have watched every Marlies game over the past few years.
Well, you know who has our boy Talon. So we may have to call him up maybe after a couple of games and see what he says. You know who I think is a player to watch, who hasn't got a crack with the big club yet, that might now, And I mean, I don't mean coming in as a fourth line replacement. If a top 6 guy goes down, maybe he leapfrogs into a top 6 replacement role for a few games. Because sometimes that's what happens with good AHL players, is they're not, no matter what the level of the league is, they're not fourth liners, right?
Yeah.
You put Bracco's vision on a line with Matthews. If, let's say, Andreas Johnson gets hurt, maybe there's chemistry. That's a guy I'm watching.
Well, I think we need to let it see out. I think Dermott's going to be playing much higher in the lineup. Like, I think Bracco is the potential for the call up. I think hopefully, like, he's not going to do the same thing that Babcock was doing. Like, no. You don't have to talk about the insanity over the backup goalie in the back-to-back situation now. But so,
well, he might. He may still go with him. He's a numbers guy, right? Yeah. He's a numbers guy, and he might still want to get those 2 points first, but he might also play the guy on non-back-to-backs once in a while to give the starter a different type of rest.
Yep.
Right? Against a team that you should beat. But there's not a team in the league that we should beat right now. We have to get to that point first.
We're terrible.
We are terrible. So
that's a pretty solid way to end it.
I think so. We're terrible. No, but I think the one other point is, I mean, I think any of the close games we've lost in the last 10 or 12, I mean, have been 1 or 2 power play goals away from being a win. And I think that has to be a huge point of emphasis right now for this coaching staff.
Oh, the penalty kill needs to be addressed immediately.
Yeah. Like, I don't care, 4 forwards if you need to, but if you don't have any defensemen that can kill the penalty, just put out some grinders and just pressure the puck. Like, something's got to give here.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess there's some big motivation to watch tomorrow night's game. Chance we watch it together? I don't know. Maybe.
Possibly.
We'll touch base.
Yes.
But for now,
go Leafs, go.